Yeah.
But okay, Ted, are you ready?
Who, me? Yeah.
Yes. John, are you ready?
Yes.
Welcome to House of the Roundtable, episode 346. It is a new week. It is a new night. It is a kind of new time if you're watching live. I'm Ben Bumhofer, and with me, as always, is John Jagger. How's it going, John?
Hello, Ben. It is. Everything's new. It's the brand new Azeroth Roundtable, starting today.
Yeah, we have the same theme song, the same hosts, and kind of same content. So
Generally the same format.
so brand new.
The only difference is it's on tonight. And
Exactly.
This is a new recording of it.
Yes, this will be the only original episode from November 15th of 2019.
Correct.
Yeah.
This is our only chance to do a good job of this episode.
We've already failed.
Uh-huh. Every episode is a chance to succeed or fail, and I like to see how far we get into the episode before we fail. And this one, not far.
Exactly.
Right
But,
at this false start.
but to help raise it up to a much better place, I'd like to welcome back to the show Tetsemi. Hey, Tet, how's it going?
Hail to the king, baby.
Thank you.
I'm doing
Oh,
fine.
I get it. I get it, because we did the whole king thing last week. I was like, okay, sure.
Hey, John, do you pay attention during the shows?
No! I thought I was the king for a whole year when I wasn't the king. This is how this happened. I don't know what's going on.
Well, open your ears because we got some fun stuff to talk about today.
Okay.
Yay.
So, okay, one of the biggest reasons I wanted to bring Ted on is not only is he a fun guest and I love talking to him, but John, he and I and the rest of our raid team did something 2 Wednesdays ago. 2 Wednesdays ago? Yeah, 2 Wednesdays
Yeah.
ago that I think that you will enjoy. Because,
Okay.
John, the anniversary event has come to World of Warcraft. Dun-dun-dun.
You're definitely bringing the high energy for this episode. I like
Yes.
it. I like it. Ben's devoted to this episode. He's going to
It
pull
was-
this one out of the gutter.
It was a fun event. I mean,
Yeah. Like, that's the big thing. Like, have you done anything with it yet? Like, have you even logged in?
I logged in, yeah.
Okay.
I've been
cool.
logging in a lot. Remember how I have more artifact power than you?
Yeah, I know.
Okay. I just
Yeah.
wanted to remind you.
Well, that's fine. Yeah. You can definitely have more than me. I've got till like sometime in January to catch up, and so far I've done nothing to do that.
Great.
But seriously though, have you done any of the actual anniversary stuff yet?
I went to the Caverns of Time,
Okay.
and I saw fireworks and dragons.
mm-hmm.
Did you
That's
see
a
the
good
dance
start.
studio?
Mm-hmm. I queued up for the battleground,
Mm-hmm.
and then I had to go to the bathroom instead, so I DQ'd,
Mm-hmm.
and then I stopped playing.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, if you recall, one of the big things that I was super excited about, and Ted was too, for the anniversary event was the actual, like 9-wing raid tier that Chromie gets to send you through.
Mm-hmm.
So we did it, and it's pretty fantastic.
Thanks for the invite to that. That was...
Well, it happens to be on the same night you typically record something.
I know. I know. I want to go. You guys need to do it again. As I told Ben earlier today, I said, do it again.
Well, I think Sunday is probably a
Yeah.
potential time this Sunday.
Except we do a recording on Sunday.
Yeah, I know, but guess when we actually play in raid? 2 hours after the recording should be done.
Oh
Yes.
my gosh, that's so much stuff on Sunday. Oh, okay.
Well, then don't complain about not getting invited to stuff.
I mean,
anyway,
it's just like, guys, don't you like having a life? Isn't there ever a time where you're like, man, it's so nice. I don't have to be anywhere. I don't have to do anything right now. I can just,
Yep.
I can play a new Star Wars game. I could get in and, let's keep it WoW focused. Let's go crazy. Let's
I don't
talk
know what
about
that's
World
like,
of
John.
Warcraft on this show. Imagine if you were just like, man, I don't have anywhere to be. I could go just do my dailies, and I could do whatever I wanted with it. I just go have it.
No, that's why we
doesn't-
stopped raiding.
Doesn't that sound good?
It does.
It does.
Wednesdays and Sundays have been nice. They've been like the only time that I've had time off at night.
Right?
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, John, honestly, I hit 70 on my necklace, and I'm like, yeah, okay, so I'm logging in to do dailies for rep, for the emissary bags, for why am I logging in? And I was like, oh yeah, anniversary event. So it's the wings, and Ben, I found this out. You know how when you go up to Chromie and you say, hey, I want to, do this wing, and then she asks like what boss you want to do?
Yeah.
It's in reverse order. So if you would put Lich King first, that's why we got him last. It actually, the voting's in reverse order. So the boss you want to do last, you have to vote on, it's weird. But
That's really weird.
yeah. But John, it pulls you into the fight,
Into the middle of the fight.
into a phase. So it's not like it doesn't start out phase 1 or phase 3. Yeah. So like for Huygen, it pulls you in right before he goes on the platform, and you have to do the Huygen dance. And then, he goes up on the platform, so everyone's doing the Huygen dance, and then he goes, he gets down, everyone gets on the platform, and melee have to, it's fun.
John, no, here's the best thing though. Imagine queuing into this with, what was it, a full 25 group, or was it a 30 group? Okay, so it's a 25 group. You can only queue. You can't just take in your raid group and control the whole thing. So we had like maybe 10 to 12 people or something.
Yeah, I think we had 10, 12 of us.
Yeah. So we queue into Huygen, and all of a sudden the fight started. We didn't initiate or anything. So then he's all like, we're like, okay, everybody run onto the platform if you're ranged and everything. So then we're doing that, and a bunch of people are standing next to Huygen. Then all of a sudden the first splash goes up, and the raid
Half the
team
raid's
is
dead.
they're just gone. And I'm like, oh.
there's like 5 of us left, and we're doing the dance. We're like,
Yeah, we're doing it, having a grand old time.
like, should we wipe it? Are we trying to get them to 0? Because he starts out at like 74% health, and you're like, how does this? Okay, fine. So we wiped, started over again, and actually did the dance. And you only have to get them through like 74 down to like 50
30 or something.
or 30. Yeah, something weird like that. And then she takes you back and goes, oh, great job. And then sends you right into the next one. You're like, oh God, where am I now?
This sounds great.
It's a riot, especially if you don't know it's coming.
Oh, yeah.
So hold on, real quick, before you continue that, let me
Yeah,
ask something based on what you've said already. Because I went up to her and I talked to her and I saw hey, me and my friends would like to queue for whatever.
Right.
So if I went up there by myself and did that, it would drop me in a party?
Yes.
Oh yeah, it dropped
It's
you in
it's
full
a
raid.
full LFR.
Well, geez, why don't I have this thing? This is easy. I don't need to set aside my Sunday to do this.
Yeah,
I can go do
but
this right now.
It's easy if 10 people know what they're doing out of the 25.
Yeah,
If all 25
we'll
people-
continue the story, and you'll find out why.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Because so next one's a Nubarak, right? And
Right.
we're all like, how do we do this one again?
Yeah, they're like something about ice patches on the ground, and he has to spike, and like, how do you
Yeah.
get the ice patches on the ground? And everyone's like, look up. Oh yeah,
So everyone who's ranged in our group is just shooting at ice balls that are in the air. There's ice all over the ground and everything, and then
you
like.
couldn't even run. It was
Yeah.
just like.
So then, a Nubarak starts chasing someone, and then it's someone who's not in our group, so they're running away from all the ice, and we're like, no!
No, run him under the ice.
And then, we go through, we beat him and stuff. We're like, okay, this is great. Then next up comes Lich King, and before we started the Lich King, everyone's like, don't stand in the defile. If someone gets taken by the Valkyr, you shoot that thing down. So it's like, okay, cool. So then the fight starts. We're like, yeah, this is great. We're doing stuff. The Valkyr comes, like, oh, this is amazing, and having fun. And then all of a sudden, it's like he's casting Defile. It's like, Defile, and everyone is standing on the Lich King.
Right, and
So
the
Defile drops.
platform.
Yeah, the entire platform just just filled completely in like seconds. And I think there's like one tiny little spot that was clear, and Ted and never just ran over to it. And like then I was picked up by a Valkyrie, so I'm like, help, and dropped. And I mean, it was so much fun. So much fun.
Until she rewound time and we're like, why are we back at Heigen? We were fighting the Lich King.
Yeah, because if you wipe, you start over.
Oh,
So by the end, everyone knew the Heigen dance really well.
Oh, yeah.
I
we were doing
bet.
really
I
good.
bet people were
Yeah.
really good at that dance. It's
Yeah.
fantastic.
So I think the Lich King was actually like 3 times, because the first time it was the Defile, the second time was the Valkyr, and then we got him on the 3rd try, I believe.
Yeah, one of the Defiles fell right where the Valkyr were going, so that wiped us
You
with
just-
that.
Yeah,
It's
you just
horrible
let go. That
RNG.
person's dead. Sorry.
When you transition between phases, does it bring people back, or do you have to complete
yeah.
it
Yeah,
with?
raises
everything
everybody and
resets. All your all your
Abilities,
buffs, all your
cooldowns.
abilities, your bloodlust, everything resets.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
So, yeah.
Oh, it was great. So then, so we did that one first because everyone's like, "Hey, this is the best one to do."
That's
'cause-
the
Right.
it's the one
It's our
we
team.
remember. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So then it's like, okay, let's go ahead and do Burning Crusade, and I think we one shot all those because
We did.
Burning Crusade mechanics, which are easy.
Yeah.
Right. That's like just general encounters now.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
like Kael'thas, and we're all floating in the air and stuff. Like
Right.
we didn't even have to deal with. Well, I think one person was mind controlled, but a lot of
Yeah.
people actually had like the legendary weapons already equipped and stuff, so they could just use the extra button to hit him if they wanted to.
Yep.
No one did. But so we're floating around trying to kill him and stuff, and that was great. And then we go to Lady Vosh, which we didn't have to throw the dark binding up or anything. We
That's
just
right.
basically had
That's
to
a
just
good
keep
phase to
attacking.
not have to
But-
do.
That one was really annoying though, because she would root the tank and then immediately drop a poison puddle on the tank, so you couldn't get out of the poison, and the roots would last like 10 seconds. And there was supposed to be like, tank's gonna get rooted, so the other tank taunts her off real quick so that the poison goes over to the other tank.
but they're
But
also rooted.
yeah, it was
And like,
So-
I guess there's spore bats above that drop the stuff and
Drop
then
the
we kinda
poison.
Figured that out and started killing them, and
yeah.
yeah. So
And then came Hyjal.
a lot of people didn't know to click the slow fall button.
Or they
So
clicked
when
it
they got
too, or they
killed.
clicked it too soon. They clicked it
Yeah.
on the way up,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, yeah, because I want to fall slow when I decide to come back down.
So that
Yeah.
was
That-
fun.
That was of those three. That was the hardest because like you and Never both died like once, maybe twice, and because it like they'd get kicked so far, but they'd still be holding threat because. Hey, the way that threat works now is way different than it was before. So Archimonde's all like, kick. Oh! And everything.
The healers are like, "We're trying to get you."
Yeah. It was a little hard, but
It
it
was
was a lot of fun. And then what's the third one was
Cataclysm.
Cataclysm. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, with the mechanics we all remember.
Yeah.
So
So it's Cho'Gall at first, and no one knew what we were doing. We just killed him.
I think I've only fought him once, and it was like 30 levels higher than he was at the time.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
it was like, here's Cho'Gall. He drops a bunch of stuff on the ground. Ads come out from the side, and then he's doing a bunch of stuff, and you just stay out of everything and kill him. And it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just like, just
Okay.
kill stuff.
yeah.
Yep. And then the Therian, which was
Oh, that was the best.
best phase. Did you ever do the Netherian fight?
I did, but I don't think I knew what I was doing.
Okay, so
So right after he kills Onyxia, or right after you kill Onyxia. Go ahead, Ben.
no, I think is it before? I don't remember.
No,
honestly.
she's dead.
Okay, so he's still
still
flying
free.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, you need to haul ass to one of the pillars because the room fills with lava, and then so we're on 3 pillars, and then we kill the ads on there, then that drops, and that's the end of the phase.
Yeah, the whole phase is don't die, get on the pillar, kill the ad, and you win.
That seems
Yeah.
good.
It's fantastic because we were like every time we did because we ended up doing that like 4 or 5 times because of wiping randomly and stuff on the last boss. But yeah, we ended up like being super split, like almost half and half on 2 of the pillars, and like 3 people on the last one.
It was me and like 2 other people on the last pillar. We're like,
Yeah, so then one of the people on my pillar just like, I'll go help. So they jump in the lava and start going. So I just threw my shield at them, and
yeah.
they get over there, hop up, and then just start killing it faster. And we're just all sitting there like, this is boring. And then
the
Ragnaros.
fight. Yeah.
Really,
So-
that hard for Ragnaros? Because he's probably the one I fought the most, and he didn't exactly seem like a mechanics buster.
So there's a difference between going in there with 10 people or 12 people and you know where everyone is, because they throw you right in the phase where he's going to drop the hammer, summon a bunch of ads that you have to keep away from the hammer.
Yeah,
Right.
and
And
all
then-
of the balls of fire that spawn too. So you need to get on the other side of the room, otherwise everybody dies.
Yeah. So it was the coordination of 10 people that knew where they were going and the other 12 to 15 to be like, okay, everyone go left. Okay, when we say go right, not yet, not yet. No, not yet. Okay, fine, go right. And then we lose people. And then the meteor was chasing people around, you know, and
Yep,
everyone's
and
like,
we're
what do
trying
we
to
do with
stop the
that?
sons of flame or whatever from hitting
From hitting the
sulfurious
hammer.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, we ended up killing it and
Yeah.
got our cool mounts and stuff. But overall, though, I think that this is the absolute best possible thing that they could have done for like anniversary rating
Yeah.
content. Molten
Much,
Core
much better than Molten
years
Core.
ago, yeah. Like I get what they were doing 10 years ago, and that's great, and I'm glad that they did it and everything. But this is the way to do it. It's
Yeah.
hey, remember this? It was really cool. You're not gonna hate it.
Yeah,
because
I
we're only
think
doing
that's
tiny bits.
like for me, I just assumed I was queuing up into a special instance where I would do all of those fights scaled up, and I wasn't really looking forward to it. But what
No.
you just described to me as like this weird remix stuff, I'm like, oh, that actually sounds pretty good.
Yeah,
I'm-
it's like a combination of time walking, but not being forced. Time walking, scaling you down so the fights actually, you know, work correctly, and you don't just one shot everything, but not forcing you to try and run like the temple, Illidan, you know, that whole thing,
Yeah.
Black Temple, in in a raid night and lockouts and stuff like that. So just by giving you the flavor of each of the fights, especially Lich King, it's like you had the Valkyries, you had the balls coming out from the center that you had to kill, you had the Defile, you know, you got the flavor of that fight. It was great.
Exactly. And I mean, the best part about it is, now that we're well informed, everything's fine. But just jumping in and trying to rack your brain to figure out what phase are we in and what do we need to do
Yeah.
was actually a ton of fun, because it's just like, okay, Lich King, where are we? What's
Yeah.
going on here? And we're like, okay, trying to remember every single thing that happened. It's like, okay, he's gonna summon ads. I remember the outer ring falls off. Remember
Right.
this happens, and just like all this stuff. And it's like, oh, we don't need to care about half of that. This is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And the fact that you only had to knock a certain percentage of health off them, you know, you weren't trying to get them to zero from full or whatever. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was really good. I would like to see them do that. I realize they picked end bosses of all the iconic raids, but I'd like to see them do that. Like, I would have loved to have seen the Atramedes fight, the Blind Dragon.
Oh, that would have been cool.
You know, would have been cool. There's some other fights that I think would have been cool. Hell, Anixia's lair, you know,
Yeah.
come in while she's flying, and you're like, wait,
And then just whelps,
Whelps?
just starts falling all over the place.
yeah, exactly. Oh, that would have been so fun.
There's a part of me that wonders if there's going to be elements of this, and maybe I'm getting a little too hopeful for what it could be for that tower that's going to be in the new expansion.
That could be cool.
It's possible.
Because like
Yeah.
that's a thing that I think would be really. I've always kind of wanted the idea of a tower type situation where it's like, oh, climb, see as far as you can get, you know, bunch of cool things, you know, like I'm a big in Diablo, I'm a big like run greater and lesser rifts, and I
Right.
really like those. And they found a way at first. When I first started running those, I was like, this is kind of dry content, you know, whatever. Oh, you go through a thing you've seen before. but they've really made those creative to where it's like, oh, you're in one that's nothing but cows this time.
Right,
And they
yeah.
all have cow names, and they all give way more XP than the normal rifts do, just because you happen to land on it. And
Yeah.
you get all the mooing that you need. And then, oh, oops, you're in Whimsyshire. You know, like, that'll pop up. Or you're in Whimsyshire, but there's demons there. Like,
Yeah.
they play with it in a really fun way, and that content becomes very interesting because of that. And so there's a part of me that's like, man, that'd be so cool if there was something in WoW like that, too, where it's like, hey, remember this fight? You're going to do a little bit of this, and now you're going to do a little bit of this. And this sounds super cool. I can't wait to give this a try.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
it's something that's like, obviously it's not going to stick around for forever, but I mean it's going to stick around till beginning of January, which is great. Which means, like, if you are not a raider at all, jump in and try it out. You need to be what, 380 for your
Correct.
item level.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just they're fun. It's a fun little thing that's exactly what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I highly recommend it. One thing Stage Time pointed out too that I want you to know, John, is that they put you they transmog your gear so that it's like appropriate for what you're doing too, which is
Yeah.
pretty awesome.
That's amazing. So that was one thing that was one of my favorite little bits that they did. Was where was it that oh, you know what? It's this might be considered spoilerish. Jeez, now I don't remember where it was. It was at the end of the war campaign, I think.
Yeah, that's fine.
There was some spot in the game where they had a bunch of people chained up, and they were from different places, different eras, essentially. And so it was like, here's your Northrend person, and they're all in wintry gear, and then, like, here was someone from Outland, and they looked like they were wearing a clown costume and stuff like that.
Huh.
I do
don't
not
remember.
recall.
I
this
don't
at all.
remember where
Yeah.
it was from. Oh my gosh, where was it? I think it was
A
during...
fever dream.
It might
You
have-
sure wasn't in the? I mean, that sounds like something that would happen in Caverns of Time.
Yeah, like there's like I don't think they would be chained up down there, but they might
No.
have just been walking around from different like time zones or something.
I think I took a screenshot of this. I'm going to see if I can
Okay.
find it
All right.
real quick
Okay.
while you guys do other things.
So, yeah, the whole tank mechanic that like Never and I are trying to figure out, like, how do we take this boss again? I don't remember, but yeah, that was fun. Especially the Heigen dance was like, okay, just keep moving, just keep moving.
Oh yeah, that's one that is burned into my head because
Yeah.
of that one time that John and I spent a half hour trying to kill it with like 4 people or something till we
Right.
finally wiped on it. And so it's like, okay, this is what we need to do. And then I totally forgot about how if you get close to him when he's on the pedestal, how he has he's just going to disease you and you're going to die by being close to him.
Yeah, exactly.
And
So
also
we had to
the,
pull him off the platform.
Yep,
Yeah.
and then the slow that he just like exudes when he's running around. So the casters do need to stay on the platform, but they need to be a certain distance away and stuff. And
Yeah.
I mean, there were just so many little touches that I completely forgot about. That there's no way that Blizzard is putting them into that sort of raid mechanic or something today. Like
Yeah.
they don't have just a random if you're too close, you just get slowed by like 300%.
Right. Yeah.
That just happens.
I found it. It's displaying on the thing. It was during the end of the war campaign. Basically, Orgrimmar goes into lockdown, and there's a queue forming by the door.
Outland
And
Adventure.
there's adventurers from all the various eras running around during that time, and they're all dressed accordingly. And the one I liked the best was this guy, the Outland adventurer, who is wearing red shoes, silver leggings, a purple cape, green shoulders, a black and red hat. And you can see like there's a Death Knight all decked out in Lich King stuff back
nice.
there, and the
That's
armor
pretty
sets
neat.
changed,
I never
but
noticed that.
yeah, they were all from different little eras hanging out in front of the gate, and it made me laugh. So I knew I didn't completely dream this, but man, I could not remember where I saw it because I couldn't remember why it was relevant.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I know I saw this thing.
Well, there you go. Now
So-
you know.
Question for you. speaking of Outland and other things, with the new leveling stuff that's coming in 9.0, Ben, have you figured out, other than Pandaria, which is where most of your characters are going to go through if you do it, to be honest,
Mm-hmm.
are there any other like expansions that you're looking forward to taking a character
yeah.
through?
Lich King and Legion.
Lich King and Legion.
Although, now that I think about it, the only one who would ever go through Legion is a brand new character, because all my other characters of every class that I have been through it. So
exactly.
Yeah. Huh. I didn't even realize that. But yeah, I mean, I might do Burning Crusade. It's a decent expansion. It was the first expansion. It's got history to it and everything, but
Yeah.
I mean, they've improved upon the expansion content ever since then.
Yeah.
I doubt that I'm going to go do Warlords ever again. I just don't really want to. Kata again, probably not going to do Kata too much. I mean, the story's okay, but I mean, if you have to level through all of the zone in order to actually,
Yeah, you're going to be doing friggin' Oldham, friggin' Movie Town. I don't want to do it.
Yeah, it's like, we've said it before, but it's a great first time to go, and then it's like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm just going to watch Raiders of the Lost Ark instead. I'm good.
Yeah. I love that zone. That's one of my favorite looking zones in the entire game, but it really is just every 10 seconds it plays that same little musical melody and then goes to a cutscene, and it's just like,
you're like,
come on.
And then the random times where the cutscene bugs out and you're like, what am I doing now?
Yeah.
Well, I've been speaking of the cutscenes, I've been, because of the Mandalorian, which we won't spoil, but I got back into
really freaking good.
Yes. I got into Star Wars, playing more of the Old Republic, also because I'm waiting for more content in WoW, which we'll talk about. But so in Old Republic, you can hit spacebar to speed up the dialogue and everything. And I go back to WoW and I'm in the cutscene and I'm hitting the spacebar going, why isn't this doing anything? Sorry, Taryn Gregory, why isn't this doing anything? And then you hit escape. It's like, do you want to exit out of the cinematic? No, I just want to go faster. Stop.
Oh, guys, one thing that I did do John, I was going to talk to you about this, and I know that Ted, you've done it too. I finally got Alanya up to 120, so I did the Heritage Armor quest for the Blood Elves.
Oh, nice.
That is so good.
Yes.
It was so freaking amazing, and I can't say it enough. If you like Sylvanas, do this.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. There's so much good buried in there, that whole thing. Have you done the Torn one yet?
Nope. No, not yet. I need to get Lactose up.
Okay. Because I just finished the Torn one, so I got her armor, and that was a really good one. I have my Goblin finished, so she's at 120 and exalted with Bilgewater Cartel, so she's ready to go when 8.3 drops. And then I also just got my Magar Orc up to 110, so I can unlock the 3 armor sets that the Magar Orcs do, and that quest was also really good.
Does it do any callback to their intro quest?
Little bit.
Okay.
Little bit. So
that was still a really good quest too.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's almost like the class identity, the racial identity, like that sort of stuff just shines so much more than just some of the leveling content. Like, don't get me wrong, I love leveling, I love the quest lines and everything like that. But when they really hone in and just give you some really good story about like who you are and what you're doing, I think that like the quest team just shines on the most amazing stuff that they can throw together.
I mean,
that's why I like Legion so much.
I think that's part of why. I think that's part of what I hope Blizzard does some self-examining of, because and I think it's a hard thing to figure out too, because WoW is successful. It might gain numbers, it might lose numbers, but it's a pretty damn successful MMO. And so it's hard to say like, oh, doing this thing that other people are doing is a good idea for us, because you know what, they're plenty successful doing what they're doing. They don't have to change it up. But in terms of feeling like my character is cool, like if you want me to rank my favorite MMOs, WoW is right at the top. It's there's no other MMO I like more. I have a ton of nostalgia for EverQuest. It gets a little tricky in that regard, simply for a nostalgia sake. But WoW, by far, my favorite MMO, number one. But if you say, okay, but which character that you've played in an MMO means the most to you? Like, as long a time as I have spent with my WoW character, and as much backstory as I've tried to give that character, if I look at it in the scope of what I've done in the game, that character doesn't really mean anything to me. Character hasn't done much. This expansion was the first place where I felt like my character really did anything different than anybody else. And even then, it felt like, okay, well, I took this path and other people took a different path. Yeah. But I look at what my Old Republic character was, and like, man, that's a complicated character. That's a character that had to figure a lot of stuff out. That character had some trials. Like, there's a crazy history there. And even though I never made it to the quote-unquote good Final Fantasy parts of 14, like I was still in the bad parts when I kind of stepped away, that character had more personality and history and story than my WoW character does. And that's the one part that I wish Blizzard would step it up. Because they've got this world full of fantastic characters, which they seem real keen on killing off or writing out of their story. So maybe it's time to make my character feel more important to the world and less just like, this is the tool I use to experience your game.
Well, would you say that they did that with the Order Halls?
Definitely. It was definitely a step in the right direction, but then Battle for Azeroth was such a step in the opposite direction that I think I think in the moment I felt very strongly about it, and now looking back at it, I feel less strongly for it because I know it all goes away so quickly thereafter.
Yeah, I think the benefit that the Old Republic has is the first 50 levels of the game are literally your defining your character through their character story, the decisions they make, the companions that they choose to interact with, and things like that. And then that kind of sets the foundation for how that character is going to move through the rest of the stories. Whereas with Legion, it was like, okay, I did 110 levels of stuff with this, or 100 levels of stuff with this character that I've got headcanon for. And then Legion helped refine that headcanon, but like John said, and then they threw it all away in BFA, and it kind of went, well, puh. So I've been going back, and with the new 6.0 expansion for SOTOR, the leveling for the end game from like 70 to 75 is very fast. So I've been taking a lot of my characters through that, and they have enough decision trees that I have no idea how they're going to get them back together to continue the story forward, because literally the two stories are diametrically opposed. Your Imperial character completely wipes out no spoilers, but he completely wipes out this one thing. But if you're the Republic character, that thing totally didn't get wiped out, and you completely, accomplished your goal. And it's like, wait a minute. So I've got an Imperial character that's got one version of the story. I've got a Republic character that's got another version of this story. How are you going to merge these two back together? So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Are we going to do a Bob Newhart fever dream thing or something?
There's going to be here's the other half of the thing that was wiped out, or they destroyed half of it, or something, probably. Like, that's the only way I could think of, like, actually consolidating that, unless it turns out that one of the, I don't know, maybe a step, like, okay, if we Walking Dead this, in 2 more chapters, the Republic side, it's just going to be wiped out anyway.
Yeah. Well, and that's I think where they're going. It's like regardless of how you get there, something's going to happen, and you just took an interesting path. But you hit on something that, John, I think the piece of it that WoW almost got but doesn't have is in SOTOR, you define your character through those interactions with the NPCs, but also with your companions. And having that companion story to kind of build your own character of like, oh, I like this character because they're a scoundrel, but I really don't like this character because they're all by the book and everything, and it
Right.
kind of defines your own character. And we don't have that in WoW. So your character's only able to be defined by the main story that it goes through. At least
Which
in
is,
Legion.
I'm a person who agrees to everything and does what they're
Yes.
told.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
That's right, Eos the gullible.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
Including
no,
when it's
yeah.
something completely counter to what I would do.
Right.
Yeah, WoW does not reward creative thinking or going outside the box. You are just kind of a meathead that says yes to anybody that has an exclamation mark above their head.
Or
Yeah.
when it does, decisions are supposed to make, or the decisions you make are supposed to have importance. Other than seeing a little bit more story, have you felt any impact by supporting Sylvanas or not supporting Sylvanas?
Oh no, I didn't feel like that mattered at all.
Yeah. E-Trig is all like, dude, it's cool.
like yeah, I mean the supporting Sylvanas thing, there's a fun meta thing of like me as a human being gets to go, man, when this ends up coming back around in my favor, I get to be real hipster about this decision.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for that day to come, because when this wheel turns, when this public opinion of Sylvanas spins back around and we're back on my side of it, I'm gonna be like, friggin' told you so.
And in the next expansion, she's gonna get her wings.
I've got the achievement to prove it. So there's like there's kind of a meta quality to it, but as far as me in the game, like, they're trying, like, I will say this, like, I don't want to come down too harsh on Blizzard, because they are definitely experimenting and they're trying things. I think post Sylvanas Orgrimmar is an incredibly interesting place to be in.
Yes.
Hearing people say, you supported the Dark Lady, we don't want you in our auction house. That stuff's cool. Like, that world building is cool.
It's too bad you can't be like, hey, Bob, I'll buy the thing for you. I'm right there with you, but for some reason they still think I'm cool.
But I just wish that there was more of it. I wish it wasn't something that just cropped up because a big major change happened. I wish the world was a little more dynamic, and it doesn't need to be SWTOR. I don't need a billion different paths to where you're sitting there going, how are they going to pull themselves out of this mess?
Right.
But it would be nice to feel like I knew who my character was. And Tet, I think you're absolutely correct, because it's this way in things like D&D and plenty of other places. You can do all the character building in the world. I have a story for my character. I had a story for my character in EverQuest. I've had a story for my character in every MMO that I've ever played. But being able to put that in the world and feel like you're actually playing that character is different than having that story in the back of your mind. And I think where SWTOR's strength is I felt like I could be that character. When I was sitting there going, man, my character wouldn't deal with this guy. She would just choke him and be done with it. And then all of a sudden, choke him appears on a dialogue choice option. I'm like, I'm doing exactly what I was supposed to be doing.
Yes.
And that happened more often than not there. And that's very rewarding. And so, getting back to my main point, just like in D&D and stuff like that, the moments to define that are typically, it's not going to be when you're in combat, it's not when everybody's going, yes, I agree to a quest, and it's not going to be when you're raiding, it's going to be in those quiet moments where you're having dialogue with other people. And those moments basically don't exist in WoW. And as a result, it's hard to feel like you have a moment to go, this is who my character is.
So let's kind of pick this apart. Let's see. obviously huge different choices like Mass Effect style isn't going to work in WoW. I mean, unless they completely change the game, we're throwing that
Right.
whole concept out the window.
Right.
So if they did give you just dialogue options that it's not like you go down a certain path and then you just talk to them again, then you can go down an entirely different path, but ones that actually stick. Do you think that that would give you a little bit more like expression and more sense of self?
It's the and we've used this term before, but it's the illusion of choice. You know, you're going to get from point A to point B. That's not the hard part. The hard part is, am I going A straight to B, or am I going A and I'm taking a scenic route to get to B? I think the dialogue thing is interesting, but one of the things that SOTOR does really well as part of this is that whole so and so will remember your decision, and it has impact down the road. So, you know, would I like a choice of you answer, you know, you answer happily, you answer gruffly, you answer, you know, whatever, and then the next dialogue choice for that, you know, is a reaction to how you answered? Yeah, that would help. That would help a lot. But you're still gonna, like John said, you're still gonna get from A to B. Um, it's that little bit of, oh, I remember how you answered this, and it comes back later in another quest or another interaction that makes it feel like, hey, I had some impact on this, even though everyone's getting from A to B. I went A to C to D to B, and John went A to H to I, you know, to B.
And I think honestly they can do it even without trees and like baby step and get to a cool place. I mean, I think about it like this. We've had plenty of moments in Battle for Azeroth where you look at what we were doing with our class halls and you go, well, man, now we're in a weird place being back in this war. Like, all it would take is little moments that they could script. They already have ways for, like, NPCs to suddenly just be following you. Like, imagine if as this war is ramping up and all of that, and you're like, man, this is some shit going down right here. And then you turn around and all of a sudden, for rogues, Valera is behind you. And she's just like, look, I know the Uncrowned kind of fell apart, but I just wanted to tell you, here's what the Alliance is thinking, and you need to prepare accordingly. Like, just a little thing like that, like an extra interaction where it's like, because you're a rogue, this thing happened. And it doesn't have to be an order hall. It doesn't have to be tons and tons and tons of dialogue and hours and stuff like that. But just acknowledging the things that have happened before and the things that your character might have uniquely done because of their class or their race or whatever they want to, like, hone in on, can be really neat. Because sometimes WoW does a little bit of it where you're like, oh, this would be really interesting. A good example of this is after you beat Garrosh, you can go and talk to all the faction leaders, and they have something interesting to say. You have to go do that, but you're rewarded for it. And sometimes they'll sneak little things like that in, and it's just like, all it takes is some basic writing or maybe a little event or something to make it feel like your decisions had more weight, to make it feel like it mattered a little bit more.
Like one of the best examples I can think of is way back from Burning Crusade. When you're exalted with the Shattered Sun offensive, when you walk into rooms, people are like, oh, it's so-and-so. You know, like the NPC reactions about you change entirely. And it's the tiniest little special, simple thing, but it made me feel special, like I was actually really contributing to the cause, you know, really trying to help take back the Sunwell or whatever.
Yep.
And being able to do something like that, you know, just from you know, collect, because I mean, all WoW is data. Yeah. And every quest we've done is data, you know, bits here and there. It's like how if you do a certain quest beforehand, they can call back to it, and you know, if it's a random NPC that you've dealt with before, they're like, oh, hey, I know you. Yeah. There's just not enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think one of the things that got me really excited during this expansion was during the leveling process. I had started through Zandalar on Tet first, and I got a piece of mail in the mailbox. I'm like, oh, this is okay. Who sent me mail? And I look and it's a note, and it's from an NPC. I'm like, oh, this is great.
Mhm.
And I look at it and they're like, we saw that you really had fun, playing with this. It was from a vendor to basically get me to come back and buy a
Mhm.
pet on the vendor, which was a really cool way of them saying, hey, we don't know if you saw this in game or not, but if you have some pet tokens, you can get, this pet from this vendor. That's really cool. But I want that because SOTOR does that in spades. I want something like that. Like when you get through a section of quest in SOTOR, usually like half hour to an hour later, ding, there's a piece of mail in your mailbox, and it's a follow-up from an NPC that you interacted with. And it's not always, oh, hey, thanks for saving me. Sometimes
Mhm.
it's like, I wish you had never saved me. All this stuff. Sometimes it's from like an Imperial and you're on the Republic side, and vice versa. Um, but it adds so much flavor that you have that piece of mail that says, hey, the game acknowledged I did something and I affected something in the game. And it's a
Mhm.
piece of mail. It's not a cutscene, it's not voiceover. It's a simple piece of text in the mailbox of the game acknowledging what you did and giving you a little bit more to flesh out the remainder
Mhm.
of that story.
Yeah,
If
it's
Go
kind
ahead.
of sad the things that like impress us in games. Like when you think about the things
It's
that like
little stuff.
it's such tiny things. I
Yeah.
remember there was one in Legion where they have you running around. The blue drakes are being slaughtered and
Yes.
killed,
Mhm.
and you find one and you
Yep.
save one, and you're just like, okay, good. I saved one, and you're protecting it, and it's following you around and all that. And I was just like, man, this is so nice. Like it's such a cool story that I saved this one and that now they're following me around and all right, whatever. And the end of that quest line, they continue to follow you. They basically give you it as a pet so that
Amagosa.
Yep.
if your story is that that whelpling now would follow you, that can be your reality for your
Mhm.
character. Now, if that doesn't feel like something that your character would do, you don't have to keep the pet or anything like that. But if you want your narrative to be that you saved this baby blue dragon and now a baby blue dragon follows you everywhere you go, the game facilitated that. And
Mhm.
not in a big like beat you over the head with it. They gave you a pet after they had a thing following you for a time. And that was so meaningful and such a big moment. And it's funny you mentioned the one you did, Tet, because like that actually got me mad because I didn't have any pet tokens, and they were like, "Hey, we noticed you really liked this thing, and it really liked you." Because I think there was some like level of like, it really had a good time with you. Come check it
Yes.
out. And
No,
I was
exactly.
like, sweet. I did a good thing. I was a good, and they're like, you can buy it, and I was like,
Like,
how
yeah,
how
exactly.
how dare you? I was
How
like
dare you
very
play
put
my
off
feelings
by it.
like that?
Yeah.
So you reminded me of maybe the ultimate, hey, you did something and this pays off way later. So I don't know if you guys have actually leveled the tune through Stranglethorn in a while, but very early on, at least for the Horde side, I don't think you can do this on the Alliance side. Maybe you can, I'm not sure. But at least on the Horde side, you get a little tiny baby raptor following you around, and you
Yep.
like feed it and stuff, and you do like a whole bunch of ton of quests with it, and it's just great. It follows you around, it loves you, it helps attack things, kind of.
Kind
Uh,
of.
it like digs stuff up for you, and it's great. And you go through this whole quest line. It's like probably a series of like 9 to 12 quests or something that you're doing this, and then this big bad voodoo evil dude comes and takes it away, and it's going to be the new ruler of the raptors or something like that, and you're just like, what the hell, man, and it's this sad thing. Then later on, when you level a whole bunch and you go into Zul'Gurub, you can go in and you see the little baby raptor is there, and it's chained up, and it is there for you to save.
Yep.
When you go in and you defeat the boss and everything and you save this pet, it's your pet. And the
Yep.
thing is that its name is based entirely off of your name. I forget what it translates to or whatever, but it's like daughter or son of your character's name or something like that. And it again, it's kind of a tiny thing, but it turned into just this huge thing where you really affected the life of this little creature, and it follows you around forever if you wanted to. And now I need to pull it out all the time because of my characters, because
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I need to do this.
Yeah, well, especially in Zandalar, because
Yeah.
maybe that would be another Easter egg if you pulled out in Zandalar and all of a sudden it started running off and you had to go chase it down,
Mhm.
like it runs to Johnny and looks trash Loa.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean and I don't think that's John. I don't think that's too much to ask of WoW. Is just like you said, everything's on rails. We know we're gonna get A to B to C. Just give us some little things in game that shows we made an influence along the way that are persistent in our version of the world. Doesn't have to be John's version of the world is the same as Tet's version is the same as Zabaoshi's. It's just for our perceived reality. I think that would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
I also love that you just went with my character name, but it's John and Tet. Well,
John-
Tet's your character name. That
John,
works.
Tet, and Zabaoshi.
I
It's just fun. No worries.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and that's one of the neat things that's, I don't know, I feel like lately WoW has been, kind of doing things a lot more that make us feel, closer to our characters and those little things that are more special. Again, like we said, we would want more, but like with what they've done with the anniversary, it's celebrating WoW and giving us, just a fun little slice of just fun, as opposed to, okay, you got to grind through this in order to really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Although if I want to get the Frostwolf mount, maybe it's a grind because I really
Maybe.
need to get that thing.
It definitely
Well, and
seems
that's
like
the other
there's a
thing,
list
John,
of things to
for
do.
the anniversary event. The bosses do have a chance of dropping their mounts.
Yeah.
So you could get
Mm.
invincible for killing the Lich King. You could get, the
Other
the-
mounts that there are.
yeah,
The
Forget
Phoenix. I already have the Phoenix though.
right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I got
So-
that because I was on Twitter and I saw somebody say, the Phoenix finally dropped from Kael'thas, and I said, well, if it worked for them, it'll work for me, and I
for me.
logged in and it worked!
And it's never worked again.
That's right, folks. Always go to watch Twitter, and if someone gets a mount, do that run.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. I have heard reports of people saying, that's exactly how I got mine, so...
Also, listen to our show when you're hunting mounts. That
Right.
also works, apparently.
Yeah,
Apparently.
we've heard plenty of evidence that supports that. So
Yeah.
Exactly. But
Have you done any of the world bosses, Ben?
no, I haven't.
Okay. I haven't either. Maybe we'll do that on Sundays. Go hit the 3 world bosses.
Yeah, do that
The
along
3
with
world
the,
dragons.
Well, John, were you wanting to do the raid with us, or at this point are you just kind of like, I'm just going to jump in and do it myself?
I mean,
'Cause
it
kinda-
depends. I don't know if I'm. We'll see. I have a busy weekend. It's getting more
Yeah.
busy too. People keep like this
Well,
was
you
gonna.
have till January.
This was
That's
finally
the nice
gonna
thing.
be my weekend off, and people have just kept throwing extra stuff, and so I was like, "Oh man, I'm finally gonna have a Saturday. Nothing's going on. The only thing on Sunday is gonna be there will be dungeons. Like I'm gonna have such a quiet, peaceful weekend." And then it was, "What if we did this? That'll be on Saturday." And then I was like, okay, well, that'll be a short thing. And then I pitched that, and it was like, well, what if we made a day of it? And I'm like, okay, there's Saturday.
Are
So-
you apple picking?
The idea, no, we're supposedly going to go to the aquarium and a lunch and all this stuff. And it's just like,
Is it the aquarium over by on Indian Bend?
yeah.
As soon as you go in, walk into the bathroom.
Why?
Just trust me, it's really cool.
Why?
Okay, fine, I'll tell you.
Yes.
So, you know how when you wash your hands in a bathroom, normally there's a mirror there?
Uh-huh.
It's a shark tank.
Oh, that's awesome. That's pretty
Like
good.
a gigantic shark tank. Very big sharks will swim past. It is cool.
That's kind of.
I don't know. I'm still vaguely opposed to the idea of an aquarium in Arizona. I just feel
Yeah.
like it's
It feels
wrong.
very wrong.
Yeah, I mean the dolphin one was the worst. I'm sorry.
Thank
Just-
God it's closed.
Yeah. It's just like it's a desert people.
Oh,
you know?
did the dolphin thing close? Good.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Because
dolphin thing is closed.
anytime anybody said, "Hey, I want to go see the dolphin exhibit," I would always say, "I don't want to go see sad dolphins." That was always my response.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
100%.
it's a sad story overall, so we're gonna go past that. But the
Oh,
aquarium's not too bad.
man.
Yeah.
I don't want to think about it. I didn't know that they were sad. I assumed they were sad, and it sounds like I was right.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
No,
Anyways,
I don't wanna
but no,
talk
no,
about
the
it.
aquarium's actually pretty cool. They have penguins there.
Oh,
they're-
hold on.
They're super happy.
Why are they super happy though?
They're in like super air conditioning, John. They're happy.
Okay, that's true.
You're in air conditioning in the desert. That makes everybody happy.
Actually,
gotta-
thanks to global warming, it might now be more comfortable for them here in Phoenix than it is anywhere else.
in the Arctic, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
but also if you have a bunch of extra money, you can pay to feed the penguins.
I could be coaxed to do this.
It's a little expensive. I've looked into it, but they also have a sloth there. That's really cute. In fact, when we were when we went to go visit, a lady was holding and carrying the sloth and walked right past us. So I was within inches of a sloth, and it's adorable.
Okay.
Did it try and help you at the DMV?
It did not try to help me at the DMV
Okay.
because it did live at the aquarium, which I know sounds weird, but
You know, the world's greatest aquatic creature, the sloth.
I mean, they throw him right in the tank. It's really great. He's like,
Low dog battle.
but they have one of those touching pools where you can touch starfish and stuff. You can pet manta rays or stingrays or whatever. But yeah, the aquarium's not bad, and it is really weird that it's in Phoenix.
Yeah. I mean, I'll. It's fine. It's just I was very much looking forward to a peaceful, quiet weekend, and things are filling it up. So the answer to the actual question, the WoW-related question, before we start talking about aquariums, is yes, I want to run it. I would love to run it with friends. I don't know about this weekend because I am trying to save as much time as I can.
We have till January, so we'll slot in a Wednesday night and get you in there. Or
No,
a
it'll
Sunday
have
night.
to be a Sunday night.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
'cause
unless he drags John and Bo with him, and then they just do core while they're raiding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that. We'd allow it.
So we'll figure it out. You guys do raid on both nights that I do shows, though. So that's
Technically, we
that's
were
tough.
raiding on both nights before you started shows.
That's true,
You
and we
started
have
shows
we
on
have
raid night.
we have changed our nights for the
You
shows.
changed both of them to those nights.
Yeah,
It used
I
to
will
be Tuesday
blame
and
Johnson on
Saturday.
both these.
Okay, but let's be clear on how this worked. We were setting aside time for raiding, then we stopped raiding, and then we were like, we're so busy. Do we have any free nights? And of course, the night where we had set aside time for
Yep.
raiding was a free
how it
night.
works.
That's how it goes. So
Yeah. Well, that's all right, though. But Ted, thank you so much for joining us on this week of Azeroth Roundtable. And also, just want to say, happy WoW anniversary, guys.
hey, happy
you.
WoW anniversary. Go to the
Happy
aquarium.
Wowiversary. Yeah.
Go to your local aquarium, whatever it may be, even if it's just a big fish tank in a restaurant.
So if I just ride the the deep run tram, that counts, right? 'Cause
Yeah,
it's
that's
just
like an
it's a
aquarium.
tram through an aquarium. There
It's
we go.
aquarium adjacent.
Then there's also there's another one, but it's one of the Titan things where you can go walk down in, and it's an aquarium. I forget where that
Yes.
is, though.
That is in Oldham,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
in
so check it out,
the
guys.
dam. Yep.
Mhm.
Speaking of deep run tram, just FYI, I did figure out what to use my 120 boost for pre-ordering
Oh,
9.0 was, and I boosted a dwarf because I wanted the heritage armor.
Mhm.
And so for the older races, the dwarf and the gnome, you just have to get them to 120, it doesn't matter how, and then you have to get them exalted with their home city.
Oh.
So it was literally use the boost. Okay, I'll just go run Shadow Labs a few times with the tabard on. Run over to Shadow Labs. You can't enter an instance in a newly boosted character.
For a day.
I'm like, why? Okay, come back tomorrow. So then I ran Shadow Labs like 12 times with a tabard, and ding, go get your armor. And the armor quest for the dwarf was really interesting.
Oh, I'll have to check that out then.
Yeah.
Well, I boosted a Worgen so that I would have a relevant Alliance side character. A Worgen
Awesome.
rogue
I'm shocked.
that
There
is
you
an
go.
outlaw
Shocked.
rogue. I copied all the abilities as closely as I could so that it was just not a jarring experience to switch between the two.
Well, John, if it makes you feel better, that's what I'm going to be doing with my Vulpira.
I was just like, I want a character that I can do alliance. Because here's the thing, I really want to unlock the,
Colterans.
yeah, I want
Yeah.
them.
They're
And
great.
Blizzard still hasn't said anything about how I'm going to be doing this or when these are going to become available, I don't think.
Yeah.
And so I'm assuming I have to do it the hard way. So I was like, all right, fine. I'll make a friggin' 120 friggin' rogue and get started.
Sneak your way through it.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I'm working on it. I'm getting there.
Good. Very good.
Character's fun. Hey, those new Worgen models are great.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. So, did you create your female Worgen human or your Worgen?
I created the human and then did a little tweaking based on how the Worgen looked. There's a couple things I'm a stickler for where I was like ears. I care far
Right.
more about the ears on the Worgen than I do the piercings on the human. So I was like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
okay,
like, I
okay.
made my human and I was like, okay, this is the person I would be. And then I was like, oh, those ears though. I didn't really like the hair either, but it's grown on me and now I super like it. So, you know, sometimes you just gotta take what you get and let it grow on you. Besides, we're all gonna become super customizable soon anyway.
Yes.
Exactly.
Oh man, I
I'm
can't
looking
wait for that,
forward.
you guys. I'm so excited about it.
Me too.
The one question I've seen that they haven't answered yet is I wonder if they're going to give the ability to do the two different colored eyes, the pie eye.
I just want different colored eyes that aren't yellow or green on my blood elf.
I think they're coming.
It's pretty much guaranteed. I mean, they've already confirmed that they are making changes to how glowing eyes work in
Yep.
anticipation of the customization, and blood elves are among those changed.
Yep.
So, I mean, that doesn't mean. I mean, it could just be they're like, it's still green and blue, but I would assume that means we're getting other colors.
Green
too.
and yellow.
Green and
But
yellow.
you know, it'd be great glowing red eyes on a blood elf. Yeah.
That'd be weird.
That's called a Death Knight. Anyway,
Actually, no, it's called a demon hunter.
or that too. Yes.
It's called a Sylvanas Ranger.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
They're the only ones of the things we've mentioned with red eyes. So there you go.
So
and
Ted,
yes.
no, go ahead.
Sorry. No, you said because I want the undead upright model instead of the hunched over model so that I can make, Tink Tink the flag bearer.
What they
All right.
need to do is have an upright and hunched over version of every race.
There you go.
Yeah, let's add some hunchiness to upright folk. You know, like you could get
Wouldn't that make a Drenaya broken?
I don't know,
That
but
would
I
be
want
cool.
a cool like Coltiran. Like they're already like kind of pirates, and I want one that's kind of like hunched
over.
Like he's just.
There you go.
I just want that.
But
so.
but then there's going to be some of those people who they add the hunch and they say, you know why I'm hunched? Because I carry you in raid every week.
That's good.
Accurate.
Yeah. Anyways, Ted, thank you very much for joining us. Until next time we have you on, where can people find you?
If they want to find me, you can find me on Twitter at Ivory Tiger, or you can find me on the AIE podcast, which we are recording actually tomorrow night. We're going to have Star Trek Online, talking about AIE in Star Trek Online. And then we'll have one more show in 2 weeks, which is the year-end wrap-up show.
You know, I can play Star Trek Online whenever I want.
So can everybody, John.
Yeah, but I can super play it whenever I want.
Did you buy the lifetime subscription?
you have the lifetime one?
Yes, I do. I have the lifetime subscription to that game.
Good job. I'm proud of you.
Look,
How much was it when it came out?
it doesn't matter.
No, I'm curious. I just don't remember.
That game's still around. It's
Was it
paid
$300 or
for itself
$400?
now.
Was it 500?
It wasn't $500.
501?
It was
they
less than
actually have-
$500.
Yeah, most of the life.
$4.99?
It was less than $400.
Seriously though, it was like what, 250 or
I
something?
don't remember. It was a lot of money. I went through this on Core. I don't need to go through it again here.
Not at the end of the show, no.
Yeah, exactly. I spent money on it. And I got sick of playing it in the beta, so I technically didn't play very much of it on an actual subscription. But it was a good game, and I'll get into it again one day. And darn it, you know what? I'll have such cool ships and stuff, because I got currency like crazy. I'm just rolling in the coins. I'll have 3 enterprises. Just you wait and see.
That standard cost of lifetime subscription was $299.99.
See? Told you.
Yeah.
Under
Yeah, less than
500,
$5 and
under
It's okay,
400.
John. I'm right there with you. I did the same thing with Lord of the Rings Online.
Yeah. Nobody's...
Let's put it this way. I just want to have a ship and fly around in Star Trek Online. And I
Yeah.
want it to be the ship that I want it to be.
Hey, there's a good chance I can do that because I have so much fun currency money, I can buy whatever I want.
Yep.
Nice.
Because you know who's never spent a penny of it? This guy. I'm pretty sure I'm the source that people lend from when they need money in that game.
Well, John, until next time we have this episode, or, if people want to find you on Star Trek Online or whatever, where can people find you?
Well, I'm not on Star Trek Online at the moment.
Okay.
I'm currently in a currency accrual situation there. Which is interesting for a world with no currency. But
But that's a whole nother discussion.
that's a whole other thing. We don't need to go down that road, but now I'm thinking about it. If
I
you
am
want
now too, because I didn't think about that before.
If you want to hear more from me, you can follow me on Twitter at John_Jagger. You can catch me on shows like Core, which is a video game show where I first had to admit that I had a lifetime subscription to Star Trek Online. And you can find out more about that at heroesforyou.com. You can also catch me playing Dungeons & Dragons on There Will Be Dungeons, which is a fantastic live play recorded. There's a bunch of buzzwords around it. Anyway, it's a session of D&D every week that you can check out, and we play the game. And we're really sick of mind flayers on it, but we're almost done. So it's
Hopefully almost done.
My gosh, we've
Can
been
you imagine if there's another 4 wings to this place?
Ben. I went and looked. We started this dungeon in July.
Oh, jeez.
Now,
Yeah.
I will
Critical
say, a baby was born, and there were some other things that happened, but that did not constitute as many weeks as one might think it did. And
Yeah, that was only 2 weeks, wasn't it?
yes, so we've been in that dungeon for a really long time.
That's okay. You guys only play for a half hour, right?
No, we play for 3 hours.
Oh wow.
I mean, it's no runes under Mountain, but
July. Anyway, you can find out more about that show. It's fun to experience. It's harder when you actually have to fight the mind flayers and survive them. If you're just listening, it's easier. So enjoy it. There's plenty of dungeons. We promised them. We're delivering them. There's definitely more than one, too. So it's not even the case where the plural's wrong. There have been at least 2. So check it out. There will be dungeons.com.
All right.
What? That was a glowing review or endorsement for my show.
It was a glowing description, definitely.
I think
will
people
admit,
should listen to it. It's good.
I have a biased and unbiased opinion that it is a very good show and everybody should listen to it.
Yeah, Ben has been on the past 18 episodes of this dungeon. We brought
It
him.
feels like that.
We brought him in as a guest, and he's been hanging around, and he thought he was gonna. Well, we won't get into too many spoilers, but there was a decent chance he was done, and I literally.
And then someone got sick.
I literally prevented him from being done by healing him, so...
Well, it was darn close.
It was a roll away.
Very, very close.
There's a lot of drama in that show. It's good.
Yeah. But if you're looking for me, though, you can find me on Twitter. I am at Ben Bumhofer. I do a show with the Looter called Box For It, where we geek out about everything. And anything. I also like to talk about Dungeons and Dragons with Ryan Reeder, also known as TBK Zord. That show is called D In Discussions, and
Yeah,
even more so, yeah.
that show's good. And
It is.
you guys talk about things for DMs and players. And like sometimes people will ask questions like, I don't know, here's just a random one I thought of. Like,
Okay.
hey Ben,
Yeah.
what do you think about an encounter with, like, let's say 4 illithids, right? One that's a boss. What about, okay, also in the room, 4 obelisks, obelisks, however you say it. 4 of those, and let's say 11 lizard folk with laser rifles. Good encounter? Ready for 4 people?
Well, here's the thing. I would have to actually see what the party makeup is like. If they have, like a good defense against some of those, say projectiles or something like that. Like if there was a character who, I don't know, like basically magically pulled all those projectiles into himself, I think that I might shy away from, that many, but you never know. But I mean,
Land shark.
if someone's got like able to cast firebolt or like it cause huge waves of destruction to get rid of a lot of that stuff, then probably okay, assuming they use it. But the thing is, as a DM, you can never trust that your players are going to do things the exact way that you think that you would in that situation.
You're right. It does seem too easy. What if when they were done with all of that, they had to fight a dragon?
That's better.
What kind of dragon?
Yeah.
That's where it comes to.
A
What
weird
kind of
mind-controlling worm dragon. Yeah, okay.
Oh yeah, that'd be rough.
It's
So
fun.
Tiamat's lesser cousin. Got it.
Not that far off.
It's a fun time. Anyway, thank you for using your dungeon expertise to give me some insight onto that.
You're welcome. Yeah, I'm excited for you to listen to the next episode of DN Discussions because I get to talk all about how I had this whole thing built up and ready to go, and we spent the entire time shopping.
Yeah, or your dangerous culmination to a since July story session gets canceled, and you're like, that's all right, I got another game going, and everybody just spends the entire time in a shop.
Yeah.
It's okay. I got to create a brand new character who I don't think anyone's gonna forget in quite a while.
Nice.
My favorite part about this, man, we're really dragging this in part off.
Yeah, that's fine.
Especially because Ted has to go soon. So I'll just say this
Oh, geez,
quick
that's right.
to Ben. My favorite part about the whole buying thing is my character isn't interested in buying things. So I was like, well, this shopping episode's gonna suck. And then he was like, by the way, this item's here. And I was like, that is interesting. How much? More than you have.
Hey, screw you.
I did that specifically for you.
Oh. Come back at night and steal it.
Oh, they already left town. Anyways,
Oh, okay.
also I do play in a game too, on a show called +5 to hit, which is kind of accurate. However, I have a +8 to hit, so
Ooh, nice.
that work.
Look at you.
Yes, but it's a lot of fun, and some crazy stuff's happening, and I really recommend it. I have a lot of fun with that one. Anyways, this show, though, Azeroth Roundtable, you can find us on Twitter. We are at AzerothRT. Questions, comments, want to tell us about your crazy, awesome, fun thing that you did for the anniversary, go ahead and send that to us to AzerothRoundtable@gmail.com. And, of course, all of our episodes are found on AzerothRoundtable.com, as well as on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, all that fun stuff. If you want to catch us live, and I highly recommend it for next week, make sure to go to twitch.tv/AzerothRT. Currently, we are live at 7 p.m. Pacific time. And next week, we are going to be having a call-in episode.
Woo!
So that's right. We will take your questions. Of course, we'll also take them over Twitter, over email. If you're unable to actually make it live, we'll fill it in, answer any question, whether it's about WoW, gameplay, Dungeons and Dragons, Star Wars. We might not dig too deep into our personal lives because, we're still people too.
Right.
But, generally we'll answer pretty much anything.
Yeah.
So if I have
yeah.
like a
I'll get-
7-part question on the rules for next year's prediction show, that'll be good.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, look, we'll get pretty personal with you. Just keep it reasonable, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, if you want to know how to actually call in next week, make sure to stop by AzerothRoundtable.com, click on the Discord link, and you can join our Discord.
Manny wants to know in an early question, who is this year's reigning king? And I'm pretty sure I won it.
Accurate.
Hey, this show is made possible by people who support us by going over to patreon.com/AzerothRT. We want to send a big thank you to everyone who does so, but a special shout out is always given to the members of the Murloc Club for going above and beyond. The Murloc Club is Aaron, Blixie the Rogue, Brandon O, Jesse O, Caleb M, Kilroy-tastic, Sarah M, and Taryn. Thank you so much for being a part of the Murloc Club and your support.
He said something extra this week.
Oh, great.
Anyways, Ted, thanks again for joining us. John, you are awesome as always. I have to tell him that.
Thank you.
Chat room, you guys are
I
awesome.
try
Thank
so
you very
hard.
much for joining us. And until next time, everybody, be good to each other. Yeah, I guess that's it. Bye.
Speaking of trying hard, I should stop the show.